SELSI, spoken easy language for social inclusion.
Partnerji v projektu prihajamo iz različnih držav. Mogoče bomo še kakšen drug jezik slišali danes tukaj, ampak načeloma smo iz 5 držav, in sicer iz Slovenije, iz Švedske, Latvije, Litve, Italije. In taka zanimiva druščina je še bolj zanimiva zaradi tega, ker prihajamo iz zelo različnih organizacij. Smo iz univerz, smo iz nevladnih organizacij, imamo zraven nacionalno radio, televizijo. Skratka, res veliko umov z različnimi idejami, z različnimi pristopi. In kaj smo v našem projektu, ki bi ga nekako v slovenščino lahko prevedli, v angleščini je SELSI, pomeni Spoken Easy Language for Social Inclusion, v slovenščini bi to nekako rekli govorjen lahk jezik za družbeno vključevanje ali pa družbeno vključenost. Kaj mi smo pravzaprav s tem projektom nekako želeli? Eno enostavno vprašanje smo si postavili. Že to Mojca je opozorila prej, kako pomembno je, da se ljudje med sabo razumemo, da imamo informacije, ki jih potrebujemo, in tudi obe naši današnji slavnostni govornici sta povedali, kako je komunikacija pomembna. In mi smo se vprašali čisto enostavno, kako govoriti, da nas bodo ljudje razumeli. In ko se seveda nekako podamo na to pot, ko to vprašanje raziskujemo, se moramo nujno vprašati sledeče stvari. Kakšno podporo ljudje potrebujejo? Mojca je prej rekla, kakšna orodja so na voljo. Kakšno podporo ljudje potrebujejo v pogovorju, medtem ko poslušajo informacije, medtem ko pripravljajo informacije. Katere smernice za lahki govorjeni jezik lahko označimo, da delujejo, da so dobre, katere lahko priporočamo naprej različnim strokovnjakom, ki delajo z jezikom, za katere lahko nekako zatrdimo, da te bodo pa res delovale. Tako smo se spraševali v našem projektu in ta korak, katerega pa ravno zdaj izvajamo, naši kolegi pripravljajo eno zelo zanimivo spletno orodje, ki ga bomo naslednji teden prikazali na spletu, se pravi način uporabe in čemu služi. Vprašali smo se seveda, kako naj te smernice predstavimo na dostopen način, da bodo res uporabne, da bodo ljudje jih uporabili in razmišljali pri tem, ko govorijo. Naša zgodba se je začela pred skoraj 2 letoma. Zdi se mi, kot da je bilo to približno predvčerajšnjim. Novembra leta 2022 smo začeli in zdaj smo tule, to ni v lahkem branju ta časovnica, ampak tam čisto na začetku, na oranžnem smo začeli, tule na sivem proti koncu pa zdaj končujemo. Se pravi, danes smo se zbrali na zaključni konferenci v Ljubljani. Natanko čez en teden bomo naše orodje predstavili na spletu in uradno je konec projekta 31. oktobra 2024. Ampak glede na vso energijo, glede na vse podatke, ki smo jih pridobili, glede na vse nove ideje, želje, pobude, sem skoraj prepričana, da to še ni konec poti SELSI projekta in da se bomo mogoče že zelo kmalu, ker čas pač se zelo hitro vrti, spet družili na kakšni SELSI konferenci. Moji kolegi iz partnerskih organizacij bodo povedali, kaj vse smo v projektu počeli. Najprej smo naredili raziskavo, potem smo začeli graditi ta priporočila in strategije za govorjeni lahki jezik, potem smo jih ta priporočila malo stestirali in zdaj nekako gradimo ta primer evropskega modela za govorjeni lahki jezik. Zdaj bom pa čisto na kratko prestavila nazaj na angleške obrate. And I would be very happy if our partners from Italy could join us here from University of Pavia and from University of Trieste, our dear colleagues, Pier Giorgio Trevisan and Elisa Perego. Please, you will present us with the first part and with the research that was done in the SELSI. Please.
Good morning, and we will switch to English, plain English, hopefully. So Pierre and I are the Italian partners of the SELSI project. I work at the University of Pavia, which is on the left side of Italy, and Pierre comes from the University of Trieste, which is on the right side of the map, very close to Venice. We started the project research activity. It was October 2022, and we led Work Package 2, which was the first research work package in the project. The aim of this work package was to give voice to spoken easy language communication actors. With actors, we mean end users and also professionals. To do so, we had to map the needs, the communication strategies, the difficulties also, and the preferences of both end users and professionals in the field of spoken easy language in order to offer an overview of the situation in each partner country. Our working tool was quite long, actually. Online, multilingual, anonymous questionnaire. The questionnaire was written in plain language for professionals and in easy language for end user. So the same questions, or almost the same questions, were developed using two different varieties targeted at two very different audiences. Now, usually recruiting respondents is very difficult. We disseminated the initiative a lot, and we were amazed, I have to say, at the number of people who decided to give us feedback, especially from the countries involved in the project, which were the countries we had more connections, of course, with. And as a result, yes, we had, for us, that's a huge response, nearly 500 respondents, aged 31 to 50, mainly female respondents. In terms of users and professionals, we had 180 user responses and 266 professional responses. Their answers regarding the linguistic and non-linguistic strategies used to make both one-way but also two-way communication smooth and easy served as the basis for building the SELSI guidelines. The answers were the building blocks of the following research activities of our partners, and served as a basis to develop other working packages. Now, a full report of results is available on the SELSI webpage. It's very long. Today we'll just highlight a couple of very interesting findings, and if you're interested in knowing more, there's the report online.
Thank you. So just a couple of highlights. Well, first of all, there was a very huge amount of work that we needed in order to set up this online questionnaire, both in plain and in easy language. So we involved some students who worked with us and helped us a lot. We also received some open comments both from users and from professionals. I will just summarize 3 or 4, but you can find everything in our report that is online. So end users find it particularly difficult to express emotions and to disagree with their interlocutors. Okay, this came from their open comments. Sometimes professionals find it difficult to decode emotions, needs, and thoughts of the end users and adapt their language accordingly. End users find it difficult to understand loan words, so words that belong to other languages and are used in Italian, for example, because I was analyzing the Italian situation. So 27% of end users spoke about this. Also, some users highlighted, and this was quite frequent in their comments, the importance of being physically close to the professionals that are working with them. And this, of course, sheds light on the relevance of the interpersonal dimension in communication. The overall impression in general is that non-verbal communication plays a very big role in spoken easy language, sometimes even bigger than verbal language. Overall, it's been a very rewarding experience working with all the countries, all our partners. It clearly strengthened our working relations. It expanded a lot our view and knowledge on spoken easy language, and it clearly enhanced our collaborative skills with international partners. So for those of you who are interested in the details and the specific research activity, a report is available online on the project website, and there are 2 papers that came out already, and you can find them here. They are online and they are freely available. You can download them. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pierre and Elisa, for guiding us through the first part of our project. And now for the second part, how we started to build upon these results will be explained by our colleague Laura from the University of Vilnius. Please, Laura.
Thank you, Tatiana, and good morning, everyone. I'll just check. Yeah. So Vilnius University was the partner who led the work package 3, and our task was to develop guidelines of spoken easy language. So basically to come up with a list of recommendations that would be clearly presented and hopefully very useful to anyone who is either using easy language in their work or everyday life, or would like to start using easy language and is kind of at the very beginning of their path of doing so. I have to say that these couple of years of creating the SELSI project and then running it have been very eventful for our team. We had 2 members of our team give birth to children and go on maternity leave. We had 1 person in our team to move continents and then move continents back. We had a swap in the management team, and we had 1 person completely changing careers and going to the career path in diplomatics. And mind you, we were not a huge team. So I want to say thank you to everyone who was on my team for actually making it through. And I think we did quite a good job at the end with the guidelines that we did put together and the guidelines that we're sharing with you today. So what we started with was essentially a huge Excel file. We had like 272 entries there, and these entries came from various sources. They were all suggested by us and our partners in SELSI project, and I think what is the most important thing is that we were not trying to invent something ourselves. We were trying to really survey what's out there in terms of what the professionals or end users already do, what they already use, what they already know that is working or is not working. And we also tried to survey the published research, like various PhD theses or published papers on communication, again highlighting what works or what puts pressure, what makes it difficult for the end users to understand language when it has to be easy language. So we started off from surveying what's out there, and we ended up with this huge and messy document with a lot of examples and strategies and suggestions. And our job then was to try and group them, to try and organize them and present them in some manner that would be useful for the user, but also to go through them and to make sure that they are grounded enough in something, that they are grounded in research or in user experience, or if we thought they were not really grounded that much, that was kind of the reason to go and test them later on in the SELSI project. So what we ended up with is the SELSI guidelines for spoken easy language. The guidelines are already available online on our webpage, I think, and they will also be available as a part of the online tool, which you will be presented later on today and next week. And this working with the guidelines was, for me at least, an example of the real collaboration with very different fields, very different individuals and very different professionals. So on the one hand, we had research. We had research that came from either published sources or the survey that Elisa and Pierre has already presented to you. On the other hand, we had partners, our SELSI partners, discussing the project, coming up with suggestions, commenting on the drafts and commenting again, and sometimes commenting even too much, perhaps. Yes, it's still work in the progress. But as Tatiana said in one of our meetings, that is great. That's actually showing how much everyone is involved in that and how people care about the final product that we are putting out there. And probably the most importantly, we had our advisory groups and our end users who agreed to test the guidelines, who agreed to participate in the experimental testing session, which the Swedish team will tell you about, and who actually gave us not only the feedback on the guidelines they were testing, but also some suggestions, some extra suggestions on what should be included in there. So it's been a long and very eventful journey, I would say, but I'm actually very proud to stand here today and to tell you that, the SELSI guidelines, to our best knowledge, the first European guidelines of the spoken easy language. I'm sure there are a lot of specialists out there who have their version of guidelines or their version of advices how to speak in easy language. And I'm sure there might be national guidelines out there, and this is great. But I think there is a real need to have something out there available for everyone who needs to start using easy language or who just wants to go through these advice and probably improve their ways of communication. And also, these guidelines are available in all of the partner languages, so you can access them in your language if you speak Slovenian, Lithuanian, Swedish, or Italian, and Latvian. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laura. You already introduced the next part, so to say. Sarah will be speaking about the testing that was done in 3 countries, in Sweden, in Latvia, and in Slovenia. And here a special thanks goes, of course, to the end users of Easy Language, also to our advisory group. And we also have today here 3 of the test users that were also involved in the research in Slovenia. But without further ado, please, Sarah, Dyslexie Verbundet Sweden, please introduce the testing to us.
Thank you. So I will speak about, we really did 2 parts. The first part was to figure out how to do the tests, and then we did also testing, of course. Me and Esther Hedberg, who is here today also, we are from Dyslexie Verbundet, which is an NGO for dyslexia and dyscalculia. And, as Esther has wrote there, she is also at the aphasia organization. we had help from Stefan Johansson, which is from a company called Begripsam. He helped us with all the tests. And then we also had a cooperation group with 4 people who has cognitive impairments, who was Inger, Hjalmar, Camilla, and Hans. And they helped us with figuring out how to make the tests. Okay, so now we go to next. Yeah, so here you see the test group. So we met online mainly, and yeah, they helped us with this first part of figuring out how to test and how to test, of course. And one important thing that they helped us with was to see that if you want to figure out what is good and what is not good in spoken language, you have to be able to listen to the spoken language more than once. Because if somebody asks you, does this person speak slowly enough? Maybe you listen one time and you can't really say, I want to listen one time more and then see how you feel. So that was really a good advice. So we decided that there will be these recordings for us, because we decided to test talking books, and so our groups could have the recordings in advance. But if you had a session where you had lessons or something, you could record them and then you can show them more than one time, because then you get really time to think about what you heard and what you think about what you heard. So here is then the next part, the tests. We had 4 groups that tested the guidelines in Sweden, and it was both online tests and on-site tests. And as I said, the Stefan Johansson at Begripsam, he led the tests, and me or Esther was present to get input and so on. We got the help from MTM, which is the Swedish National Agency for Accessible Media. So they have the talking books in Sweden, and they produce them. What they did was to make 7 different recordings of the same small excerpt of a talking book. And what you see to the left here, to the right, sorry, is a checklist that we did with our cooperation group too, so that when you do listen to one of the talking books, in this case, or when you listen to a lesson, you can read each of the recommendations, and you can see, okay, is this the smiling face is of course a pass, or is it a fail, or if I don't have any opinion at all. So and those, for us, we decided to test if the speaker spoke slowly but clearly, if he or she made pauses between words, long enough pauses, of course. If there were pauses between phrases, if the person avoided to speak too emotionally, or if it was too monotone, and then lastly, if there was enough emphasis on important information. So we in besides the 7 recordings, we also tested synthesized speech of the same excerpt. So we spoke a lot about the quality of the synthesized speech too. So, and here is a test on site that Esther and Stefan led. So, what we found, first we saw that speed is something that people react to when they read a talking book. So if it's too fast or if it's too slow, it's really dividing the group. Some want it faster and some want it slower, of course. And then also emphasis. If somebody is talking too emotionally, some like it because they want it more emotionally. But a lot of people also, they don't like it because they don't want somebody else to tell them how to feel about something. If somebody reads something and they really sound happy, you may feel that, okay, I have to feel happy about this fact or this something. So they want it a bit more natural, so as to speak. We did find one new recommendation that wasn't among the recommendations, and that was that if you listen to something, you do want to have the transcript. So you do want to have the possibility of also reading what you hear, because even if your hearing is good enough, it helps you to understand. A lot of people, at least, get help from reading a transcript also. And then we did alterations to 2 of the recommendations. The first one that we found, especially then in recordings, some people are really disturbed by sharp treble sound. So it's like or something like that. It really annoys quite a lot of people that there are sounds there that aren't, it doesn't sound natural, and it makes them not want to listen anymore. And then also we talked a lot about synthetic speech, as I said, and so we added that, okay, of course, it's really good to use natural voice, but if there isn't natural voices, if nobody has recorded a book, you still want to listen to it, maybe, and then you can use a synthesized voice, and as long as the synthesized voice is of high quality, you will feel that it's okay. Because if, as somebody said, if you are new to synthesized voices, you will probably feel like, this is not something I like to listen to. But you get used to it, and it's like a dialect or something. Okay, you might feel that, okay, I don't like this, but I get used to it at least. So if you do listen to synthesized speech for some while, you might feel that it's better than nothing, at least. So and so we had really, really good help from our cooperation group in this, and they really helped us a lot to form and to know how to test. And without their help, the test would have been not, as some of them said, what we proposed first. They said, well, you won't test the speaker, you will test what we do. and that is not the point. And yeah, so they really helped a lot.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Of course, you will be able to ask questions, provide the ideas later on. We will have time for this, and I will switch to Slovene now again. Če se spomnite, med vprašanji, ki sem jih prej navajala, ki smo si jih zastavili v projektu, je ne bom rekla zadnje, ampak tudi zelo pomembno to, kako smernice predstaviti na dostopen način. In nekako koordinacijo te naloge smo zaupali našemu partnerju RTV Slovenija in ta del bo predstavil kolega Andrej. Andrej, prosim.
Živjo, najlepša hvala. Kot je že rekla Tatjana, smo koordinacijo tega dela prevzeli na RTV Slovenija, natančneje služba za dostopnost programov. Kakor ste lahko zdaj slišali, je bilo vloženega ogromno dela v to, na kakšen način zbrati, ustvariti smernice za govorjeni lahki jezik. In kot je Tatjana ravno omenila, tisto zadnje vprašanje, ki je mogoče najbolj sladko, ampak obenem tudi zelo zahtevno, pa je kako predstaviti te smernice na kar se da preprost in enostaven način. Ker je proces oziroma ker proces še poteka, proces izdelave spletnega orodja, vam bom sedaj pokazal samo dva kratka izseka, kaj lahko pričakujete na delavnici, ki jo bomo imeli točno čez en teden, torej v četrtek 24. Tu na levi strani lahko vidite eno od smernic v večjem, recimo temu, v večjem ogrodju, kjer lahko brez kakršnihkoli težav spreminjate posamezno smernico in si jo ogledate. Tukaj jo lahko vidite v angleškem jeziku, kar pa je velik dosežek tega projekta, se mi zdi, je tudi to, da so vse smernice prevedene v vse jezike, kot smo tudi že slišali. Ena izmed stvari, ki bo omogočila morda še lažjo predstavitev vseh teh smernic, pa je 5 animiranih videov, ki smo jih ustvarili, v katerih bodo prikazane nekatere od smernic, da boste lahko kar se da plastično, kar se da jasno videli, kako je to uporabljeno v, dajmo temu reči, nekem realnem okolju oziroma v realnih situacijah. Ena izmed stvari, ki jih moram poudariti, je, da smo ta levi del, to ogrodje ustvarili skupaj z Zavodom Risa, še posebej z Dragotom, ki je naredil večji del tega. Ampak kot rečeno, na tem mestu bi jaz mogoče bil precej kratek, ker bomo o tem govorili več v četrtek, kjer bomo imeli delavnico, na katero se lahko še vedno prijavite. Delavnica bo trajala 1,5 ure ali 2 in na njej boste lahko izvedeli vse o tem, kako se lahko gibate po samem spletnem orodju in kako na kar se da najlažji možen način upravljate z animacijami, ki jih tukaj vidite trenutno na desni. To bo to z moje strani. Najlepša hvala.
Najlepša hvala, Andrej. Laura, Kolegica iz Litve je prej povedala, kakšne dogodivščine so bile osebne narave na poti njihove ekipe v tem SELSI projektu. Tudi skupaj smo doživeli marsikaj, recimo dvakrat smo na mednarodnih dogodkih, skoraj celotna ekipa. Mi po Korošci lepo rečemo slovensko fas ali covid, potem recimo do zdaj smo imeli že tudi kakšne zastoje, smo obtičali v kakšni državi, celo požar smo imeli že v hotelu danes zjutraj. Skratka, vse sorte se dogaja okoli projekta, ampak projekt kot tak ima oziroma je imel kar konkretne pozitivne učinke na naše organizacije. Zdaj bi pa jaz povabila kolegico Migle, prav tako iz Litve, ki bo povedala, kakšen vpliv na organizacijo je imel projekt SELSI pri njih. Migle, predajam ti besedo, prosim za en tak pogled širši na vse skupaj. Here you go. Please, Migle, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm actually really nervous speaking in front of the audience, so sorry if it's gonna be a little bit shaky. But I am from Lithuania, as Tatiana already said, and I'm representing Informacijos kaupimo ir sklaidos centras. It's NGO, and in English we call ourselves Information Collection and Dissemination Center. So just shortly, I'm going to say IKSC because it's a really long name to pronounce every time. I'm going to talk shortly why it was important for us to be a part of this project, and why I think it's have impact not only for our organization but also in Lithuania. And I just want to start that actually this year we had law where I think it's first time when we were talking about really accessibility. It was that all people in our community have to have information in their accessible ways, and it was first time that easy language was like defined in our country, like officially in the law. So all the institutions and people were started talking what is easy language, and there is actually a lot of chaos because they didn't really know what it is, but they need to start using it, they need to start preparing information, they need to start talking in easy language and how we should do it. And for our organization in Lithuania, we have guidelines of written easy language, so it was important to have continuity, to not to stop just there, but when we were talking with the workers who work with easy language users and also with users who use easy language, they said that they have, I think this is a big word, but it's important, they have fear sometimes to communicate with each other, workers, fear to hire people who have intellectual disabilities, or they fear to work with them, they fear start talking with them because they're afraid that they don't know how to ask questions, how to communicate with them. And also in Lithuania, I had a chance to be the one who helped for some end users to fill in their questionnaires that we were prepared here. And later we talked with them, and it was really nice to hear importance of this project also for the end users, that it's really great to have ability. I think there was a couple important things: to have ability to talk and to be understood, because I think as the guidelines not only give us idea how we can talk easily, but also it helps to understand, maybe understand more easy language users, how they talk, how do they feel, And sometimes they said they also feared to ask questions for the workers because they had experienced that they don't get answer or they don't get the right answer that they ask questions. And that's why they just fear also talk with them. So there's just sounded like workers fear to communicate with the people that they work, and end users also sometimes fear to talk with the people that they work, and then we are stuck with communication. So it was really nice to hear from them that they feel importance of this project also. And I will just say what I want to say more. Just maybe summing it up, it's really great that it's not just going to be the document that a lot of people worked with, but it's going to be like, it's going to have a really practical impact. If what I see, that how people can really easily communicate with each other, because I think in Lithuania we're also working towards that all the people would be a part of community and not to be fear to communicate with each other, which we have now in Lithuania. So I hope that it's gonna help to have less fear and less enjoyment to communicate with all people in our country and in other countries. So.
Thank you very much, Migle. We have discussed a lot of components of spoken easy language already, and this importance of the cooperation of the end users. Another strong experience of this was in another country where the guidelines were tested, and this is Latvia. At the, I will not try, Vieglas valodas agentura, is that right? Latvian Agency for Easy Language had a very interesting and exciting role here because they were dealing with radio news, testing them, observing them, and here to share the results today is Irina. Irina, please. And what is the experience from Latvia in this part?
Thank you, Tatiana. Before Andres. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So let's jump back to the testing and testings in Latvia. We have some practical results, which I suppose it's important to all of us. And I would like to say just some words about importance of adjusting easy language to diverse audiences. So, as we know, easy language is designed for a wide range of audiences, and each of them has its own specific needs for better comprehension. During the testing in Latvia, we test the texts of radio news for two distinct audiences, and one of them was individuals with intellectual disabilities, and other group was people with dementia. The test material included one-way communication examples, such as easy language radio news broadcasts. It was very interesting for us to test news broadcasts because we have such daily news broadcasts in Latvia. And we were interested how people understand them. During testing, we realized that it is be impossible to predict all responses in advance. And it was quite surprising for us. And we use new text is very similar to everyday news. And these texts cover various topics that elicited different emotional responses from listeners. For instance, a new item about a war in Ukraine upset one participant to the point of tears. But a fictional story about granting extra holidays has taken so seriously that it was very difficult to us to convince that the audience later that it was not true. So, yeah, be careful with jokes. Yes, and our key takeaways from this experience. Participants take any news seriously, so content must be considered very, very carefully. Jokes, as we know, sometimes help us to make more relaxed atmosphere in conversation, but jokes or very realistic news may not be appropriate in testing situations. The reaction to content highlights the importance of thinking twice about what we include in easy language communication. And some short conclusions is about adaptation easy language. Adapting easy language to specific audiences is essential for its effectiveness. This experience emphasizes the need for professionals who work with target groups to aware for their audience's emotional responses and comprehension levels were designed easy language content. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irina, for emphasizing this strength that the language has on people, the communication has on people. It's not to be underestimated, and I think it's a very nice way, a very nice thought to wrap up this first part of our panel.
SELSI, Spoken Easy Language for Social Inclusion. Partners are Zavod Risa, RTV Slovenija, SELSI Verbundet, Università degli Studi di Pavia, Vieglas Valodas Agentura, Vilnius Universitetas, Vsi informacijos kaupimo ir sklaidos centras. Funded by the European Union.